double whammy. Alright, very nice. So I'm gonna take the next 30, 17 or so minutes, 15 to 17, and definitely go over essentially where I'm at and where I'm at. This is just for me. As far as the captain's log, it's been a cool minute, and then I've also done a lot of work. What I mean by work is just like getting essentially all these things appropriated, just like LLC, all of the essentially notions of running my own program, or the idealization of like, or visualization of a core group of people. The funny comedic version of that would be like OnlyFans, but like really taking an opportunity to see what platforms are there to essentially support the notions of education, notions of like peace studies and things of that nature. Like, I've definitely have my, I have definitely had my fucking doubts in regards to all of this work and what have you, but it's nothing punitive, and I think that's at its core value, like one of the items that's kind of like a showstopper, where it's like it just kind of like makes you pause and think of what like we can be doing together, and or the collective work that's already been done out there. And so there's little items out there that can definitely be adjusted and or taken accountability and responsibility for. And so those little small adjustments and just kind of like calling out for the right help and the right data, which is something that I had really encountered yesterday with this mastermind group, that it's definitely the amount of information that we receive and then how we go about funneling that information to the appropriate people and or communities or collectives and things of that nature. And so one of the cool examples being in the nightlife industry, essentially the notion of having jazz clubs a lot closer to our communities. So there's strip malls and things of that nature, and so there's a few hole in the walls out there, but really making that readily available so that people can really like celebrate and or socialize a lot more. And so that came out of like an app, and I think one of the coolest things that I had definitely asked for through this process is being essentially around people that have mastermind ideas. And what I mean by mastermind is one of those things where they have a full focus, like they have a process to a thought process, they have a process to their thought process. However, they're doing it in such a kind and caring and overall loving way. And so that's something that is easily visible. Yeah, I feel like I've definitely had the keen eye to really see who's putting in the work and who's enjoying their work. And so there's two ways of definitely going about it, or in this case, it's not two ways, but there's 8 point something billion people on this planet, and that's the only ones that I haven't counted for and or registered or what have you, but I'm sure there's a lot more out there. And so with that comes the notion of really taking the opportunity of where I'm at currently, and so I'll play the literally game. So I just went about setting up, for the most part, it's about 60 to 65%. It's like a C grade. It's like less than a C grade right now. But everything is essentially set up for tonight, and the partakings that I've been taking are essentially exactly what I need. That chocolate's amazing, and so I'm sure it hasn't been digested fully just yet. So I'm going to take full advantage of the notions of utilizing that and really putting things into perspective, and tomorrow taking 2 steps. Definitely court and respondent, 10 page or what have you, and I want to have that printed. And so I'll be heading to Staples and then Court, and then possibly putting out the notions of my mom going for a permit to sell most of my stuff. I'm gonna be keeping my library as well as my content stuff. I do want to keep wiring in a few of my arts and crafts, and so I'm sure there's a lot of cool ideas and swag that's gonna be coming. And so yeah, I just want to start making my own items and selling them. And so I went back to the smoke shop where I had one of the smoke shops, or one of the shops, or a business, however you want to put it. I had sold 3 batches, actually sold 2, and my 3rd batch I essentially gave it out to just powerful people that I had come across. I don't know them, I just heard 1 or 2 of their stories, and then I gave them one. It was there, and it was one of those things where I'm sure those power pieces have been putting some work. So when I went over to this shop, or one of the home shops, that's usually where I get my incense or whatever I need. They have got a selection out there, and the gentlemen's there are exactly that, just beautiful individuals who, acknowledge me when I do go, and just a quick here and there, but it's definitely heartfelt. And so I feel like that's really hard to find sometimes with these like mom and shops or chain liquor stores or what have you, where it's run by one family and they're like, well, if you're not part of the family, well, it's like they raise prices and shit. I don't know, they barter with this fucking idea of funny money. Speaking of funny money, financially, definitely in a hole. Just the notions of what happened with my so-called partner. Once a partner, always a partner. And I am without here, like, consent. There's no one here, like, it's just me. And so it's just a funny thought process where everyone that I have possibly encountered, I feel as a partner. So as funny as we each are and have interacted with one another, it's just I need more paper or different ways, or like a faster process to be able to create imagery and or literature or whatever mannerisms of like communicating to really have someone feel and understand that. And like the Sixth Sense would be aware of all that. And I think slowly as we are making one another aware, and in a very proper way, using keywords and things of that nature to really understand the fear notions out there, fear mongering, and the idea of these folks or faggots that I like to say, leeches, whatever, in the sense of like infestation and or the notions of like Terminator came to mind. Just like fucking exterminator. Like, like there's a space, it's comfy or what have you, but boundaries are being crossed, and it's one of those things where it's causing a lot more damage than good. And so really understanding a positive way to turn that into a fun process. Like people say shit and I don't know, like where they come from or what they're on, or if they're on fucking whatever, like whatever it is that they choose to like eat or like fucking drink or you name it, like vitamins or anything that you put in your process or is processing through your body, like plays every day, and like there's variables and shit like that too. So I think to really like plan it out, but at the same time it's just like you gotta be, it's like little beer, base God had said. It's like half confusion, it's like is that really what we're doing? All right, and then coming to an agreement on that, like these meetup groups and shit. Man, that's fucking hilarious. So I just kind of like want to really kind of situate that and what that kind of looks like collectively. Oh, I make a heart, let's go. So collectively, speaking of hearts, uh, me and my right brother are supposed to have a meeting. And the idea is just to really find out information on remote work, and we're also traveling. So I've really done my work, or I feel like I've done my work, to really essentially move forward. Uh, this idea of like, I've already done the corporate. I've already done like the fast-paced work out there, and then like the farmland scenario. I feel like the camping and or the traveling out into these remote places like has been not as extreme as it's being shown out there, just because I'm running with like the basic scenario of uh just the basics of what I have, and so I got some solid tires or what have you, and they got me to where I needed to go, and they're paid off or what have you. My car at the moment is definitely an asset, or is being seen as an asset. Like it's done its work. I feel like I've done my volunteer work too. That was like the first actual trip that I took with that truck. It's like the night before I got my truck, and then the next day we had a group going out to the Sierra Club. So we took a solid camping trip out to Sweetwater, and so it was banging. Like that's exactly why I got it for. And so like loaded up most of the kiddo items into the back of the truck. I took it's a double cab, so I had taken some kiddos also in there. And then immediately, like, we unloaded everything off my truck, and then I parked it near camp, and the kiddos, like, I put the bed down, and the kiddos were just, like, on it, and so it's like, boom, like, I was like, you can take it out, like, that shit's done, like, that's exactly why I got it for. And so with that came, like, Milo, and so that was the same idea, is, like, really taking this doggo and practicing, like how to take care of someone. Like me and that dog have definitely gone through some shit. So, and or just trips in general, like, yeah, like that's exactly why I got him. So, with that being said, let's see. That's a good one. Okay. Let's see. Let me the mic up a little bit more. So, I went through quite the experience. I'm gonna definitely talk for a solid 5 minutes on that, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. And then from there, no longer put the attention and or of any type of hatred that's ever been conjured in this like mind or mindset, is definitely a clarity and voicing it out there. So I want to take the opportunity to really say my graces, especially how I've landed and how like this is taking like process and going through this so-called like hardest drug out there, and like that's the second hardest drug. And so I think really partaking and really understanding how it's done, and or how each person practices it, and then so I took it upon myself to really do it in a more facilitated manner. So with that came the notions of kind of like distancing myself from my individual family or immediate family, things of that nature. But it was definitely caused through the notions of another. And so with whatever was said and whatever was essentially acted upon, knowing that all the positives were definitely being written down, so that we can go back and forth to really read that and see where we're at and continue to work on that, as opposed to whatever's being said. It's like whatever's being said isn't action. I think it's definitely, we can definitely communicate, but it doesn't lead to action. It just leads to more conjuring or more wandering. And I say wandering, but some people definitely get lost. And so for me, I have definitely built my structure and or my system when it comes to ideologies and or ideator or artisan and or my last notion is practitioner. But overall, look, I'm a content specialist, and so I've been working on that notion for quite a bit, and I have schooling and or also the skill set to be able to do that, but I don't think I needed school to be able to do that. It just allowed me to see in a specific perspective, or just it's kind of like filters, and so whatever classes I took, that's just an added on filter. And so for myself being in school and then working at schools, so I've definitely conjured quite a bit of skill sets, and so and or are being practiced at the moment, especially with my like journaling and all of that. Like I am writing I am essentially writing books or completing those books that are being questioned and things of that nature. So that's my thought process. It goes like this. Beeline to Antonio at gmail.com. Best believe that I have definitely written down all of the dates, and I have written down the amount of calendars, and there's close to about 5 or 6 journals that I have brought out and have kept, and I have all in my storage is all the literature as well as all of the programming that I've ever written out there, and or programs and extracurricular activities that I have ever done. That's including high school, and so I've done all of my therapy as well in elementary, and so I feel like I've definitely understood my audience really well, and also my partnership, and so it's one of those things where I have said that I've like hated people, but I've defined or have made an acronym for hate, which is having a time. Let me see. Have a timeless effort. I don't something like that, where it's not like like an insult to anyone out there. It's like I'm just here to definitely understand where folks are coming from and what they need. And I'm here to show that the basics are basic. That's all you need: food, water, shelter. And everything else is definitely extra, and really accommodates the space that we have built for each other, and or for ourselves. And so the idea of beginning to share those spaces and or be included in those spaces has been amazing. I don't see it as being like homeless or houseless, because there's folks that I can just stay with for like maybe a day or two, like, but in the reality is like paying forward in the sense of the time and energy that it takes to encourage someone to very like be courageous, or I don't know, whatever the fuck they want to like complete, or whatever the mindset is at the moment when we get to meet, because all those ideas changes and like changes every day, or like things happen and you're directed or guided into a different situation or what have you. So I think to be really poised about that definitely comes into play, but I think it's also really choosing the folks that you want around you. It plays a big role, because like they have their own mindset, and so at the same time you're like taking that in and really adjusting it for your own self. But the reality is like the knowledge of where they might be going is not there, because it's not your it's not your destination or what have you. So I think really learning that and practicing it out and really adding it to the filters that I've been just completing to really adjust and get the notions of getting the appropriate sequence for the mind process. You know, like there's definitely quite a bit of brains. And so really to depict that, categorize that, and really make it into my own manual. And like I've been watching this fucking cowboy. He's been talking about horses and shit, so stallion for sure. And yeah, I hope the audio's good. This mic's been on, and the first vid came out pretty solid. It was pretty loud, so yeah, I love you, appreciate you. Please let me know if you need anything. Yeah, it comes, and I've definitely have been a witness to that, so keep doing what you're doing and take full advantage of where you're at right now, and that's all you got. So this fucking Carter, yeah, it's like you are the best version of yourself at this very moment, and there isn't it any better now, but you can do better as you go on. So be better. That's what I like to say, or we would like to say, one of us. Yeah, undefeated for sure. There's only a selected group out there, so oh man, I can't wait to start gaming. Yeah, so here we go. Thank you very much. Here's to the epitome of an honest, authentic, consistent romance. Yeah, true to yourself, true to others, no fucking mercy. Yeah, but in a fun way though, like horseplay. Alright, I love you. Bye.